and then I will start a screen share. I'm just going to make sure that you can see it. Oh, hold on. I don't get to screen share yet. Sorry, I didn't pop up the other one. Now let me screen share. Funny how if you don't have it up, it won't let you get it. Okay. Wow. Okay, so here we go. So I'm just going to quickly go over this. At the bottom of your screens, you see chat. So if you, while we're doing this webinar, if you need to chat at the bottom, and there's also a raise hand at the bottom. So if you have a question, raise your hand. And feel free, you can always say, hey, Steph, what about this? So don't feel like you have to be muted. You do not. So please make sure that you know that. Okay, here we go. The enrollment process, week number 2. I have to tell you, this was so much fun. I did this morning also, and it was amazing. So now I know how to upload correctly, so here we go. So welcome, you guys, and Rachel, it's so great to get to meet you. Yahoo! And Lindsay, it's great to have you. So we'd first like to thank Zoom for allowing us to come in here and use their equipment and the internet. That's so amazing. And then we'd also like to thank you for taking an hour out of your time so that we can learn more about the enrollment process. So I thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So my intent for today is, one, to enroll you 100% in you, and is to make sure that you become aware of maybe what you need to be enrolled in, or just in what you need to just be aware of things that are happening. And then to help you become the person you need to become in order for you to step into your greatness. So that is the intent of our class today. So the rules, and you'll see this each time, are just to be present. It's just an hour, so I'm going to ask you not to worry about what you have to do tomorrow for work or what you were supposed to do yesterday, but just to be present right here. Number 2 is to manage your communication devices, and number 3 is just to show respect. So raise your hand if you'll abide by those rules. Thank you. So what you'll need is a pencil or a pen, journal, paper, and an open mind. And I have that too. So I'm going to ask you, this is our week number 2. We had week number 1, and I always ask this because if you don't have an intent of this class, then there'll be no clarity of what you're going to want out of it. So I'm going to ask you, what do you want to get out of this class? It's week number 2. What is your intention? You can either write that down, you can share it with us. What do you want? Anybody want to share?
I would like to get more motivation to just, you know, be, to get my, what do you call it? You know, the, not motivation, but the,
Energy?
well, I have the energy. What is it called? Not the snowball effect. You know, the, what do you call it?
Achievement energy?
Yeah, that's kind of like what I'm looking for, but there's another word for it. Oh, what is it? You know, when you start getting things going and then they keep going, you know, what is that called?
Butterfly effect?
What
It
now?
compounds itself.
Yeah.
Compounds, momentum.
Momentum, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to get the momentum going on for me to start building the team, my team more.
So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When the alarm goes off, do you push snooze?
Yes.
So if when the alarm goes off and you press snooze, automatically you just put yourself in scarcity mode because you said, I don't have enough sleep.
Okay.
So if you want momentum to happen, the next time your alarm goes off, get up.
Okay.
And don't ever push snooze again.
Okay. I understand.
Yeah.
That makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
It does.
So I love that. Okay, so here's your momentum. So Susan, and you know what, Susanna, I am so sorry because I gave that to you and I should have enrolled you. I'm so sorry. Dang it. My fault.
What?
I should have enrolled you during that process, and I didn't. So I apologize. I'm on my game now. I'm present.
So, Stephanie,
Yes.
if you don't mind, can we rewind and like demonstrate what you're talking about? Like,
Absolutely.
instead of giving the answer, let's rewind and like let's play that back how it should have played out.
Okay. Thanks, John. So, Suzanne, you just said momentum. Okay.
Yes.
So this is how I would have done. I should have done it. What would it mean to you, Suzanne, if you had momentum?
I would feel awesome
Why?
because the momentum would be driving me forward.
And if you had momentum driving you forward, what would your results be?
Well, hopefully they would be what I would like. And even if they weren't what I'd like, I would at least be moving forward. And I think it would give me give me more confidence and excitement to keep moving. It would be like a self-propelled engine.
So if you had more confidence and energy, what would happen?
Then I just boom out of bed and just be going all day. I kind of do that, but I don't do that because I hit the snooze button.
Yeah, but see what I mean, John? I kind of talked to her on that one. I goofed it. Do you know what I mean? So
that's okay. No, this was actually really good for me to have a demonstration of multiple ways to get back to the same point. So that was really good. Thank you.
So John, normally, right, she wouldn't have known that about the snooze button.
Right.
And I could have asked her, what is the one thing you do when you get out of bed? When you hear the alarm, what do you do? And then she could have said, I hit the snooze button. And then I should have said, what would happen if you didn't hit the snooze button and you just got out of bed? Because she already knows the answer.
But it's becoming aware, right?
Yeah. But in all honesty, I think I think she was aware already. She already knew the answer because she said, well, I've done that before. And then she stated what was happening, right? So that's why I tell people money is inside of you. You already know where it's at. It's just who are you going to become to enroll yourself in asking the right questions. So in order to close, then we would say something like, Suzanne, are you ready to make a choice and say, I want these results of momentum? Or are you ready to still stay where you're at? And I would probably ask you, like on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being, yeah, I'll stay there, and 10 being, no, I'm ready to move. Where do you find yourself?
Right. Are you asking me now?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm like at an 8.
So what's keeping you from a 10?
Well, actually, okay, I'll be a 10. I mean, you know.
So when you're role playing, you don't get to switch. What's keeping you from a 10?
Yeah. Nothing?
You're too easy. Okay. Anyway, so then you could commit her to getting up and not hitting the snooze button.
That's awesome.
Have her take action. Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of all kinds of things that I'd like to do when I wake up. So
Woohoo!
a magical thing.
Now that's achievement energy.
And actually, I'm thinking of things I could do tonight to prepare me to when I wake up so that I'll feel extra good.
There you go.
Yay.
So, Suzanne, if you felt extra good, do you think you'd be more enrolled in your life?
Yes.
Wow. I love it. Okay.
I love that. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Any thanks for role modeling. Any questions or any comments? Nope. Okay.
Nope.
Here we go. So achievement energy. This has been fun. Has anyone seen any achievement energy this week? You guys have been here? Sorry, I'm sorry. Did someone say yes?
Yes.
Talk to us, Suzanne.
Well, I'm glad because we got a new client and we got that job done. I also got to meet some new people this week, and so that's always good. It's good to start meeting new people because then you can, start cultivating relationships, and then you can plant seeds and that type of thing. I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. Very nice. Anybody else? Rachel, did you see any achievement energy?
Can you can you explain what you mean by achievement energy? What is that defined as?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me ask you some questions.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
Okay.
So when the alarm goes off in the morning, do you hit the snooze button or do you get up?
Yeah, I hit it at least twice.
Okay. So when you hit it twice, is there ever been a time where you haven't hit it and you've gotten up?
Yes.
What happened?
I'm tired either way, so it doesn't really matter whether I lay there or not or get up, but I don't know, you just get moving and go about your day, and then you're not late and you don't feel rushed. And I don't like being late, so being punctual, it just gives me stress to not be punctual. And so I don't know, that's a really good question. I probably should never hit the snooze if I want to start my day out right.
So if you, when you don't hit the snooze button, do you notice, or let me do something. When we were talking about enrollment and the percentage, what percentage were you enrolled?
When we talked, I felt like I was at a 50.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, now that you're aware that you're at a 50, was there any time this week where you could say, I was higher than 50?
Yeah. There's been, this week has been great. I've really made an effort to be more aware of that on a daily basis. And it just transfers to everything else that I do because I have a full-time job. And I'm positive already, but it's that energy is transferred out. And this week has been fantastic. I think my number one thing was not making time for myself, whether that's 20 minutes, 15 minutes, just having that little bit of time for myself on a daily basis, which I've done every day, and it has been amazing. This week has been really great. So I think that was my primary focus, was to really enroll more than 50%, and I feel like I've done a really good job. I started writing a list of what is my 100%, and I've kind of started to tackle that list over this past week, and it just feels so good. You kind of get back to the root of who you are and what really satisfies you and what makes you happy. And if you're happy, everybody is happy around you. It just transfers to everybody else, which is really great. So this week has been really, really great as far as being enrolled. It's just a confidence booster too, really.
So do you think that what you just described could be described as achievement energy?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. Exactly what you just described is achievement energy. So the opposite of achievement energy, right, would be procrastination and sabotaging energy, where you're supposed to do something, but somehow you get sabotaged.
But when you're in this mode, though, what's really cool is that is not even an option. Procrastination is not even an option.
Yeah, you don't even think
at all. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's achievement energy.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
And it feels really good.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for giving us a great description of achievement energy. That was awesome. Okay, anybody else want to share about achievement energy, or what it is, or had any other shares on achievement energy?
Well, I did, just because it was one that we talked about last week that I felt like I was lacking. And for the last couple of days, I've actually got my trumpet out and have been playing again.
Wow.
So yes. And so, I mean, I'm not going to go into like super huge details, but it was a booster. It was a confidence booster to still remember how to do it. And it just, music alone is such a positive energy booster anyway. So it was just all around. It just like severely compounded itself. It was great.
Wow. So John, you know what? You said something that Rochelle said too. And I'm sorry, Rochelle, is it Rochelle or Rachel? Am I saying it wrong?
That's okay. It's Rochelle.
I'm so sorry. Rochelle.
That's okay.
John, you guys both said something. So I'm going to ask you a question, John. What happens to your business in whatever you're doing when you have confidence?
Well, a couple things happen. It builds on itself, and you take what you already know and what you already feel, and then you deliver it, and people feel on that. And so you do it better each time. So in the case of presentations, is after you've done it, you know you can do it, and then it's so much easier to do it again because it was already done. And so then then the mistakes shrink down, or the ability to handle those grow. So they look like they're diminishing, even if they're not.
Wow.
So yeah, it builds on itself, and that positive energy will build on itself, and people can pick up on that.
So if I understand it correctly, John, if you have confidence and your energy is growing and people pick up on it, and you've made the experiences, even if they were a little mistakey, right? But you've learned from them, then what do they want from you?
Consistency.
And if you're consistent, then what happens?
Then you stay in that achievement energy. And it actually goes back to what Suzanne was saying, and now the momentum increases.
So if your momentum's increasing, what type of person are you going to attract?
In simplest terms, a powerful person.
So I like to put it this way, because you're absolutely right, John. I love, love, love this description of it. When you are enrolled in your life, you are grounded. And it is as if you are a flower, you are rooted, and that flower is growing, and it just has opened up. And if a flower is opened up, how hard is it for a bee to be attracted to the flower?
It's not hard at all. It's actually quite the opposite. It wants to go there because it doesn't have to work as hard to get to that nectar.
So I wonder what would happen if you were enrolled 100% and your flower opened up. How many bees would come effortlessly to you?
A lot. And if I understand you correctly, they will come of their own fruition, and I don't have to work to go get them.
Pretty great understanding there, John. Yes, absolutely.
Or at least I don't have to work to go get them. I just have to work on myself.
You mean you don't have to go hunt?
I don't have to go hunt.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Nice epiphany there, John. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
I love it. Okay. We are going to move on with achievement energy. Thank you guys for sharing. This was awesome. I think we're going to move on to achievement energy. Sorry. Okay. Anybody have any questions about strategy sessions? We are going to go over strategy sessions because a lot of people had questions, but does anyone have any questions that they want me to go over while we're doing strategy sessions, while we're practicing?
Is a strategy session what we do during the webinars every week, or what we do every day on the calls?
Ooh, great question. So strategy sessions is really how you want to set it up. The accountability calls are for you to be accountable. And we'll go over that in just a minute. On the strategy sessions, it depends on how you guys set it up. You could set it up where you say, okay, every day we're going to do an accountability call and then we're going to do strategy session. It's really up to your group. So you get to choose how you want to do that. So you guys, I'm just going to give a shout out to Marie because she's on the phone and she has joined us. Hi, Marie. And
hi. Can you hear me?
hello. I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, my meeting got out early, so I've been listening to you for the last 15 minutes.
I know. I saw you come on. I was like, oh, Marie's on. So you guys, just let
Yeah.
you know, this lady is beautiful. She is just the neatest person in the world. So if you're in Las Vegas, when you're in Las Vegas, please come see her. John, I'm sure you remember her.
I do, yes.
Yes. Marie,
Yes, we were at the doTERRA convention together.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to talk about strategy sessions and accountability calls in just 1 minute. But what's really, really important is when you get crystal clear on what you want, on your want, then when you get crystal clear on the characteristics that you want your CEO to have, this is what's important, because who you want in a CEO is who you have to become. The energy of you and that other CEO have to match. So similar to what John was just saying about open up that flower and those bees come effortlessly. Well, the only way that you can open up that flower is if you've become the person who matches the energy you want. Or in other words, I always ask, who do I have to become in order for me to attract those CEOs that I want? And when I do that, that's how I use my vision board. So I'll have my vision board there, and literally I ask, who do I have to become in order for the energy that I have to match the energy that I want in that CEO. And that's what I have done for my vision board. And I'm going to tell you, I love, love, love my vision board. If you are not sure what a vision board is or how to use it, please let us know and we'll send you a video on it. So that being said, I always ask, who do I have to become in order to live my ideal life? And who do I have to become in order to attract the CEO that I want? And then I work on me, like John said, as long as I'm working on me and my petal is opened, then effortlessly the bees come. Okay, so let's talk about role-playing accountability calls. So the accountability call will look something and he sounds something like this. Hi, Marie, how are you? She'll say, fine. And I'll say, great. And then I'll say, hey, what's your action steps for today? And she will then state her action steps. So it might be something like this, because the action step that we want is to be 100% enrolled in our life. So it could be that she says, my action step is I don't want to hit the snooze button. So I'm going to get up. Now somebody there, right, might say, is that stretching you? And then she could say yes, or she could say no. And if she does say no, then we would say something like, what would be stretching you? And she might say, well, instead of not hitting the snooze button, I need to take my alarm and set it 15 minutes before I normally get up, because I would like to spend time meditating with my higher power and doing those things that would get me prepared for the day. And then we might say, is that stretching you? And she would say, yes. We'd say, great. So then it would be, how are you going to achieve that? And then she's going to come up with a plan to achieve that. So your accountability calls need to be quick and asking questions, but very quick. And then at the end, maybe asking her, hey, what's one sentence declaration you could say, so that you could be prepared for that. So it could be that she says, I wake up in the morning and I have enough sleep to achieve for the day, or whatever it is. And so you're just giving a declaration of what is going to get you through, because remember, we have to train this. So any questions on accountability call? Nope. Okay.
No.
We're moving on. Okay, so accountability calls, again, they stretch you, they move quickly towards your goals, and they move you from a procrastination energy to achievement energy, which Rochelle just gave us an incredible account of that. So on the accountability call, it's basically, did you hold to your word? If you didn't, if you call and you said, I didn't get it done, what you say is, instead of I didn't get it done, because that's putting us into scarcity mode, we say, I can change. And then somebody will ask, well, what are your action steps for the day so that you can change? And then they would say, and then they would have their declarations. So does that make sense? So it's just, I can change. So 2 days ago, I didn't get my action steps done. So when I called in, it was, I can change. And then they asked me, what are your action steps for today? I told them. They asked me if that was stretching me. And oh my gosh, I made sure it was stretching me because I was so disappointed that I didn't get them done. And then I stated a declaration. And my declaration was I actually switched, that basically said, I command my spirit to lead, and it leads me to the right people at the right time to say the right things so that I can make the most impact and the most income. So I just did a declaration that would help me hold to what I wanted. Any questions on that?
No, that's really good.
Cool. Okay, so now we're going to do some strategy session role plays, because this is really where people were going, okay. So this is where the experience, what John was talking about, if you choose to experience this over and over and over and over, your goals that you have set, you will get faster. This is where it's at. So this is the gold. If you want to make an incredible impact, this is the income that will take place if you learn this. This is truly teaching you how to master the art of enrollment. So the first thing, when you have a strategy session, so what's going to happen is, let's say you guys had your team call and you decide that you're going to do a strategy session. So let's say John and I are going to strategize with each other. The first thing is I have to have an intent. I have to have a purpose of why I'm doing this, because if I don't, I am not authentic. And if I don't, I do not have clarity. And John will feel like I'm trying to sell him something. Have you guys ever been like at a store or something and you feel like someone's trying to sell you something? And it's just like yuck. Like you're like, ugh. Have you ever had that feeling?
Yes.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because the person who, when they came to you, they had an intent. Guess what their intent was?
To sell me something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if your intent is to sell something, that's exactly what they're going to get. But if your intent is to enroll them in their life, that will be exactly what you get. So you have to know your intent. And people have asked me, so we're going to go here really quickly. They go, but what if my intent was to enroll them in doTERRA? And I said, well, they're going to get that. They're going to get that you're trying to enroll them in doTERRA. So can anybody explain to me the difference between enrolling someone in their life and enrolling someone in doTERRA?
Well, enrolling in their life, they'll actually take part in it, and they'll want to do it for themselves and their family. And they'll be really committed to it.
Yeah. What happens if you just enrolled them in doTERRA?
They might think they're doing it for themselves and you, for instance, or the team, or, they won't be as committed to themselves.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing. Anybody can enroll in doTERRA. Anybody. Thousands of people enroll in doTERRA. And that's the easiest thing to do, right? It's much easier to enroll in doTERRA or whatever business or wherever you work. It's so much easier to do that than it is to enroll in yourself, because it requires so much work that starts with you. And until you do that, you can't help somebody else. So it's hard. It's a challenge. And as long as you're up for the challenge, that translates into having a successful business. Like, it is momentum, and I mean, you see it, and people want that. What you have, that, you know, there are people in your life who are like, I want what that person has. I don't know what it is about that person, but I want that. And that's what this is.
Right. So then what would happen, Rochelle, if that person comes to you and says, I want what you have? What could you enroll them in?
I just tell them, let me show you. Let me show you because I'm doing it. Let me show you what I'm doing, and I will help you do what I'm doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is the biggest thing, because what happens is when we try to enroll someone in doTERRA before we enroll them in their life, then our intent is just to sell them and just to get them enrolled. And then we move on. But if we, just like Suzanne said, if we enroll them in their life and they said yes. So for example, do you know I can enroll you in your life and enroll you in doTERRA at the same time?
I want your secret.
Right?
That's where I'm like, I can enroll somebody in their life like that. I really love, like, this is really fun for me. This is, I think I was meant to do this, and I've got a lot of work to do myself, but I really thrive on this process. I love motivating people, and I love inspiring people, and this allows me to do that. It's just a vehicle for me to do that. But I don't know the connection between doTERRA, the business, and this process. That I'm struggling with.
So Rochelle, if I understand you correctly, you just said that you love inspiring people and
Yes.
you love motivating people.
Yes.
Why?
I love it. I don't know. It energizes me.
And so when you're energetic, what does it do for you?
I don't know. I mean, it makes me a better person.
And so if you became a better person, what would happen to the people around you?
Well, they would just multiply, because then I'd affect that many more people.
How many people do
What I love.
How many people do you want to influence?
Thousands.
Thousands. Just thousands?
Yeah. I'm not going to cap it. But let's start with that.
Okay. So then my next question for you, Rochelle, is, does your income match your impact?
Currently, no.
What if there was a way that it could?
That'd be awesome.
So on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being yes, I want to so know, and 1 being I'm a little bit interested.
Like 10 times infinity. Like, let's do
10
it.
times infinity.
Yeah.
I would love to sit down with you, Rochelle, and have a strategy session and talk to you about what I'm doing so that my impact matches my income. And what's going to happen, Rochelle, is at this strategy session, at the very end, I'm going to make an offer and ask you.
I know, I thought so too, but it's an hour.
What? Did someone hear? Is that
Oh,
just?
I said sorry because Howard was talking to me and
I'm sorry. I thought you were asking a question. I'm so sorry, Rochelle.
No,
Yeah.
I interrupted. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So, Rochelle, at the end of the strategy session, I'm going to ask you to make an offer that you be part of what I'm in. And if you say no, not a big deal. We'll always be friends. But if you say yes, not only will we partner to impact millions of people, then you'll turn around and ask somebody else to do the same thing. Are you interested?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Did you make the connection?
I've already done it.
Exactly. If your intent is to enroll them in their life, there's no difference when you enroll them in doTERRA. But if your intent is to enroll them in doTERRA, that's all you do. So make sure you have your intent. Make sure you know why you're talking to them. The second one is to be present. So as you guys were listening, right? The question, the money is in the questions, because the right questions are a game changer. And if you are not present and you're not listening to what she's saying or he's saying, you will not ask the right questions. So in my mind, when I'm talking to Rochelle, not only am I listening to what she's saying and I'm watching her body language, but I am also, in my mind, I am asking her higher self, what does she want? What does she need? Because as soon as I don't ask that and I'm worried about me, I'm no longer authentic to her. Now, I can also be authentic, right? Is let's say Rochelle said, well, I would love to do that, but I just don't have the time. Being authentic is saying, I understand, Rochelle. I don't have the time either. This is what I did. And telling her a story that lets her know exactly what I did brings her into a pit and takes her out of that pit. Next week, we're going to be talking about stories. Right now, we're not even going to go there. But just being authentic and being real, because the majority of us are not. But when you're real, there's a connection there. Rochelle, did you feel like I was selling to you?
No.
Did you feel like there was a connection?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what you want. You want that connection, because people will follow anyone if they are influential. We cannot be influential if we are not authentic. And then the last one, you have your intent, you have being present, you have being authentic, and then the last one is the hardest one. It's when we have to close. We have to receive. Now, this is something I want you guys to ponder about. I'm not going to, if you guys ask me questions, I'll answer. But why do we receive the negative? And yet the positive is easy for us to push away.
Because you don't feel worthy of receiving the positive deep down, even though you may not realize that.
So then I have another question. If you're receiving the negative, can you receive the positive?
Yes, but you need to release the negative.
So can you have them both at the same time?
No.
No.
And I'm going to throw in something that I thought of as far as you were saying why we receive the negative but not the positive, is I feel it was a weakness to receive the positive, because that's receiving help, or it's along those same lines, receiving positive, receiving help. So that makes you seem weak. Whereas if you receive negative, well, that means I'm tough and I can take it, and I've got something to prove and I can handle it myself, and look how strong I am, and I don't need anybody's help, and I will just do it, and I will overcome this negativity on my own.
Ooh. So
Do you
then
think that's go ahead.
no, go for it, Rochelle.
Do you think that's a cultural thing?
I think so.
Do you think partly it's a cultural?
Yeah, because it's to ask for help and I think is very taboo, even though anyone you talk to is like very willing to give help, but it's that asking help, because we don't want to be seen as the weak one.
Yeah, very true, John. So I have a question for you guys. When you are authentic, which one do you receive? The positive or the negative?
The positive. And I will tell you why I think that is. The positive is, well, everything good comes from God, whereas positive energy is good. And so it's that good energy is forcing out the bad. So now I forgot the question. I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
The question was just, when you are authentic, what are you receiving? The positive or the negative?
There we go. Because our authentic self is our spirit, and the spirit comes from God, whereas our body is of the earth and it's fallible, whereas our spirits are perfect. And so the spirit connects, it's the spirit to spirit or spirit to our higher spirit, and those are all being connected.
Well, and to your point of your flower and bee example, I think of when you're authentic and when you really are your true self, which is really difficult to do because it's not a worldly thing. It's much easier to be a worldly person than it is to be your true self, and people think you're kind of like you're weird. There's something weird about that person, which is cool. I mean, it's a good weird, but instead of your flower being closed, your flower is open, and you can receive all of this positive energy. And I really believe that it flows through you. And it's much easier to recognize and acknowledge the negative energy and push that away because it serves you no good purpose at all.
I love that. Marie, I think you were trying to say something too. Did you have something to say?
Hang on just 1 second, though. Okay, go ahead. I can talk to you in just a minute.
Okay.
1 second.
So I apologize, you guys. I can just see her phone when she's trying to talk. It changes a color. That's why I think she was trying to say something. It's interesting. I love to hear, I'd love to receive what you guys are giving me right now. What an inspirational webinar. It's amazing because you guys are right. And what's amazing is when you are authentic, that is the one thing that other person wants. Because isn't it amazing when we're just receiving the positive? There's such an increase of love and that's what that person wants. And that's why when that flower is opened and the bees come, they just feel that love. And so it's effortless on that part. And that's why, Rochelle, when you said people will come and say, I want what you have. Exactly. And I've got to tell you, it's so amazing when people come into my space and they ask that. They're like, I don't know what you have, but whatever it is, I want it. And it's like, yeah, of course you do, because I want it too. Yeah. So the 4 steps. I'm sorry, Marie?
I said I'm back. I apologize. I had somebody's keys, and I had to drive all the way back to the rehearsal and give them their keys. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway, I'm listening at the same time, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I think you asked me a question. Did you ask me a question?
I could just see your phone switch, so I was thinking you were trying to get my attention. Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm just listening to this positive and negative thing and kind of reflecting on it and how, it's almost to me, and I mean, in my mind, you can't be both. I mean, it's either one or the other. And how infectious either one will be when you're around the other people that you're around, and how infectious it has been in my own life. When I've been around people who are negative, how it has pulled me down, my energy, my confidence, all kinds of things, and then what happens on the flip side of being positive. So
I love
anyway,
it.
I was just on that.
Thank you, Marie. Love it. So the 4 steps of your strategy session is to just be intent intent, be present, be authentic, and then to receive and to ask them to take action. So when you're role playing, I want you to be in your real character, right? So when you're role playing, it's going to be like, Rochelle, talk to me. And as she's talking to me about her life and I'm asking questions and I'm being present, I'm being authentic, then I'm looking for ways to enroll her in something. Enroll her in her life. So she's going to say something. I might say something like, well, talk to me about your kids. And she might say something like, well, I work full time and, I don't get to spend a lot of time with them. So I'm being present. I'm looking for ways to enroll her. So if she said that, what would be some questions I could follow up on to see where she was at? You guys are quiet. It's like,
Ask her more about her children. You mean?
yeah, you can ask
I
her.
would want to know about her time and how she's spending it. What would give her more time? What is it that she would need to do that would give her more time?
Right. Or you could just say, so you're working full time and you just said that you only get to spend like 2 hours. would you like to spend more time with them? Right? Because I don't know. Right? And she might say, yeah. And then I might ask her, what would that look like? Oh, well, I think like maybe working like part-time, like 6 hours a day, that might be it. And then I might ask her, well, what would happen if you work 6 hours a day? Well, I couldn't work 6 hours a day because then I wouldn't be able to pay our bills. Now I can take her and enroll her, right? You see how I'm doing that? By asking questions. And this is so important. This is the key. Asking questions. And you do not get good at it unless you practice. And you have to practice to experience when someone says, that wasn't authentic. You go, oh, okay, well, let me ask a different way. Because there are some questions that you can ask that you assume you know the answer that the other person will know. We know this, right? We've been in trouble with our spouses before because of this. We have asked a question and we already knew the answer. Right? Yeah, we were not authentic. We didn't care about what the other person had to say. We knew the answer. So this is really great to do with your spouse. And when you get really good with your spouse, then go ahead and do it with your children. And when you get really good with your children, you have mastered the enrollment process. You can do it with your spouse and your family. You can do it anywhere. It's truly the key. Networking starts in your home. If you want to be a good networker, start it in your home. So any questions on strategy session? Okay.
Would you recommend picking something that maybe you want, like with your spouse? You could practice, like, say you want them to do something or help you do something, and you could just kind of practice that way. You mean? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like,
or let's say that's a great way to start. Yes, Suzanne. But remember, we're always enrolling, right? We're always enrolling in different areas of our lives. So, for example, let's say your spouse is. Let's say he puts, like when he takes his dirty clothes off, he always puts them on the floor. He never puts them in the hamper, even though the hamper is right by the place where he puts them. Okay?
Yeah.
So enroll him, right? Ask him questions. Hey, I noticed that you always put your dirty clothes right there by the hamper. I was wondering why you do that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's what I was wondering, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get really good at it. And it's fun.
Okay.
But remember, you want to make sure that they take action, right? Because that's where you get to receive. You've been giving by asking them questions and being present. And then when you ask them to take action, then they give back to you. That's the give and receive cycle.
Oh, okay.
And you'll know if you do it right because they'll say, yeah, I never even noticed I did that. Absolutely. You'll know if you did it wrong, right? When they get upset and then there was no authenticity in it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
for example, right?
Right.
Suzanne,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to just share this. Okay, so if your intent was to make it where he picked up his clothes and put them in the hamper, what do you want to enroll them in?
I want to enroll him in being tidy, and wanting to be tidy.
Yeah. So
But then-
you just have to be very careful because if
Okay,
your intent is to be like, my intent is to make it where he puts his clothes in the hamper.
No, yeah, I don't want to be like that. No.
Right. Because you're not enrolling him in your life, in his life.
Right.
You're enrolling him in your intent.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, they'll know it.
Right. Well, I guess another.
This one is a
Yeah.
good one. Why do you think I chose the clothes by the hamper?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking maybe I could ask him if he would help me work on my pile of giveaway clothes because I don't know which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to give. And so maybe that's something I could do. Like I know that sounds so silly. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of one of the things right now that is bringing me down is my own pile. But he loves to do things like that. He's always talking about, oh, why don't you do that?
Oh, so he's trying to enroll you.
He's trying to enroll me, right? Exactly.
Tell him, say you're not asking the right questions.
He's trying to enroll me, and I'm just putting him off.
So Tyler J. Watson, he's my mentor, and he said this, and this goes along exactly what you're talking about, Suzanne. He said, all the answers you're looking for are in a question. The right question can change the game. So, for example, Suzanne, you have these piles of clothes. Suzanne, what would it mean to you? Take those piles of clothes, separate them in what you're going to keep and what you're going to stay. I mean, what you're going to keep and what you're going to give away. Excuse me. What would it mean to you if you took those piles of clothes and actually did it?
Oh, I'd be thrilled, and so would he. We'd both be happy. See?
Why would you be thrilled?
Well, I think it would be just a burden because, we know that we don't have enough room in this place we live now. So it would make things feel, more less cluttered. Same with he's been talking about getting a new shelf and stuff, a new desk to organize, And so he's always thinking about things like that, which is really good. And I love it because I think the same thing too. I'm just kind of like, well, we don't have time, or I don't feel like it, or whatever. And I'm just procrastinating.
Snooze button. It's the snooze button.
Yeah, it's the snooze button, right? I'm hitting the snooze button all the time.
So,
Yes.
So if you, what would it feel like if you weren't cluttered?
Oh, I think I would have so much more clarity. I think it would really help. I know a few years ago I took the course Ask and It Is Given. It's a book by
So I'm going to ask you another question, Suzanne. If you had more clarity, what would happen in your business?
Well, I'd have more clarity to be organized in my business.
And if you had more organization in your business, what would happen?
I would get more things done, and I want to do more.
If you got more things done, what would happen?
I have more results.
Ooh, and what results are you looking for?
I'm looking for people that want to join me.
Why haven't you got those results thus far?
I haven't been asking people to join me.
And why haven't you asked anybody to join you?
That's a good question. I think it's different things, fear of rejection, and I know but that's my old excuse, and I'm tired of that excuse. I don't want to use it anymore. I don't care if they say no. I'm not really afraid of rejection. I know that it will take some time to work with them and everything, but that's good. I want to do that.
So Suzanne, do you think if you took care of the piles and that momentum started, what do you think would happen to the business as far as momentum?
Yeah, I do. I see it opening up. I can see it, like physically, I can see it, opening up.
So on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being least likely I'm not going to do it, and 10 being I'm committed to doing this, where do you fall on taking those clothes and taking the pile and getting rid of it?
10. I'm at 10.
Suzanne,
Yes.
how long is it going to take you to get rid of that pile so that you can have momentum in your business?
The pile, I think I can.
How many days?
I think I'll have it done for sure. I'll have it all done by Monday.
Perfect. So on Monday, who's ever on Suzanne's accountability call, we will ask you about your pile.
Okay.
I love it.
You know who my teammates are, right?
I do. I'll make sure they know.
You made them.
Francesca, I'll be emailing her.
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. So, Suzanne, did you feel like I was trying to sell you on something?
No. No.
Did you feel like that I cared about you?
Yeah, you did. I did.
Were you enrolled?
Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
The ironic thing about it, that when you do this, we all want to be enrolled.
Right. And now I feel thankful to you for helping me. See?
Yeah.
You know,
And I feel grateful because guess what? You took it, what I was giving you, and you said, yeah, I'll receive it. And in return, you gave it back to me where I could receive it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was beautiful. Awesome. John, you're kind of looking at a little like, what?
No, quite the opposite. No, this is very helpful, because that was my thing. It was like, what does it mean? I was not getting it.
So just to let you know, every time we have a webinar, and that's why I went, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I didn't enroll her at the very beginning with Suzanne when she asked me that question. So just know this is what we'll be doing throughout the whole webinar, because I really feel the more you hear it, the more it'll start clicking.
Okay.
That's all she's doing the whole entire time. Because that
Well,
is
it's just showing an outpouring of love. It's real, genuine interest in that person.
Yes, absolutely.
And all you're doing is putting a name on it.
Yep. But the key is, if I'm not enrolled, I can't enroll her. I have to go first.
Right. Or in other words, if I don't love myself, how can I love anybody else?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So the questions, the right questions. So like if I was taking this webinar, I would come back and I would listen to it again, and I would start writing down the questions that I ask, because you're going to start seeing some patterns. And if you guys were watching with Suzanne, she was saying certain things, and I was going and I was asking her to clarify what that meant, because she had the answers inside of her. And I knew it, and I could see it. All I was doing was helping her so she could see it, where she came to that conclusion. My problem is sometimes I just tell the answer. So that's not good. I'm cheating. Don't cheat. So
It's like bonking somebody aside the head and saying, wake up.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, you want to do that, but
Now let me point something out though, Suzanne, that I thought was really interesting, because Rochelle really pointed this out. Do you notice that in your daily life, in everything that you're doing, you're hitting a snooze button?
yes, I'm doing that a lot.
Yeah. And that is not achievement energy. So let me share with something that I taught. And John, bear with me, because you've heard this story before. So I am so sorry you're going to hear it again.
I like repetition. Go for it.
Okay. So I was doing something similar, Suzanne, in my life. And as I was writing a letter to my higher power, I asked him how I could get out of this, what I needed to do. And he told me, he said, Stephanie, touch the paper once. And I was like, what? Touch the paper once? What does that mean? And he said again, touch the paper once. And so it just so happened that I get done and I went into the laundry room. And I was like, this is interesting. And I noticed that there was laundry in the dryer, and there was laundry in the washer, but I wasn't taking the laundry out of the dryer until I had to be, forcefully take the laundry from the washer and put it in the dryer. And so all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. And then I noticed that the clothes in the other laundry basket that were in my room were there for like 3 days. And I thought, I wonder if I touched it once and I started it and I completed it, what would happen? And so I started with the laundry, and I touched it, I folded it, I put it away. I touched it, I folded, I put it away. And then I noticed that I started doing this in everything. I would stop and I'd say, wait a minute, am I starting something? And then am I finishing it? Or am I starting it and leaving it there? Because I noticed that was procrastination energy. But if I touched the paper once, it was achievement energy. And then guess what happened? All of a sudden I'm driving and something says, you need to stop and go talk to this person. I automatically stop, turn around, and go and talk to that person. And they were one of my CEOs. Touch the paper once. Everything that we do shows up in everything that we're doing. And I wanted, where I was only told once to do something, and I knew I would do it. So that's what I was taught. Touch the paper once. That's achievement energy. Okay. I love Tyler. He's such an awesome person. So, any questions? You guys are so quiet.
No, but I thank you for telling that story, the touch the paper once. I've started like hearing that in my own mind now. And because like you and I were talking in our strategy session of just puttering around, just dinking around, accomplishing, you know, I use that term very loosely, accomplishing all these menial tasks,
Right.
and basically just wasting time. And so no, I've really taken that to heart and be like, go to work, go do the real stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, John, for sharing. That was awesome. So if you want to get your goal 5 times faster, this is the key. You start with 5 strategy sessions a day. You start with you, because you have to enroll in you first. And sometimes you have to ask questions for you. Like, why do I continually do this same thing and have the same results? I don't want those results. So what do I need to do to change? So start with you. And and the more experiences you get at strategy sessions, the better you become. So as I stated, start with you, then start with your spouse, start with your children. And it was interesting because this morning someone brought up, was it this morning? I don't know. I better be careful when I say that. Sometime this week, someone brought up that they have a 3-year-old and how would they enroll their 3-year-old? And I just started laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? When you can enroll a 3-year-old, you've got it. You are the master enroller. Can you imagine? Hey, how would it feel if you got to tie your own shoes today? What do you think? I mean, they want to be enrolled and we want to be enrolled. Don't you love it when you're enrolled? Look at the achievement energy you guys have had this last week. That's enrollment. They want it. So just recognize there's no age limit on this. And they can be enrolled however they see fit. And you can enroll them. And I think it's incredible to be empowered as a mom or as a dad to enroll your children. Wow. I mean, think about it. When they're our age and we ask them, what's your percentage of being enrolled? And they say something like, 97. That's awesome. Mine was only 53. I don't want my children to be my age and be 53. Right? 53%? No way. But the other thing that I think about too, think about the things we've accomplished at only being 53% enrolled. What would happen if the other 47% was in there? What would we do? That to me is exciting. I can't wait. I have lots of plans. I've already talked to my higher power about it. So what you need is experience is the gap between you and your goals. You need experience. So look for experiences and get them. Get them consistently. Rochelle, you're working. Since you're working, man, you have a lot of opportunities for a lot of experiences in this. And even ask coworkers, hey, do you mind if I have a little strategy session? Just for you. Let me ask you some questions. Afterwards, I'm going to ask how you felt, blah, blah, blah. Get the experience. Look for it. Work for it. You're in the grocery store. Best experience ever. What? You have 2 minutes to enroll someone. Can you do it? It is awesome. So totally look for ways to do it. And when
Yeah.
you're in this mode, I kid you not, that's all you do. That's all you do. Someone comes into your space, you already know. Now, I'm going to tell you something. In my world, I actually made a commitment, a covenant with my higher power. And I said, anybody who comes into my space, I will enroll them. I will enroll them in their life, and I will enroll them in what they were already enrolled with, in what they were already enrolled in before they came to this earth, meaning that they know there's a God. And that is amazing when you get to do that. Because I had a really good friend of mine from high school, and she was atheist, and we were calling, and I haven't talked to her in, a couple of years since high school. And of course we just graduated 2 years ago. And when I was talking to her, she said something to me, and she said, Stephanie, I love talking to you because every time I talk to you, this feeling, I don't know what it is, but it always comes, and I love it. And you better believe I enrolled her. I was like, wow, Doris, what do you think that feeling is? She's like, I don't know what it is, but I love it. I said, well, if you could have that feeling more often to be with you, would you be interested in knowing what it is? Woo-hoo. She's like, of course. I said, well, if I could help you understand where that feeling came from, you'd be interested. It was awesome. So when you understand this and you get it, that's all you're doing. Because let's be honest, that's all we're doing anyway. We just have never figured it out by asking the right questions. But now we get to. This is where the fun begins. So, ask and you shall receive. It's all about the right questions. So ask and then you will receive. There's a lot to this scripture right here. We just have never understood it. So what I'm going to ask is that you ponder on that. And then next week we'll talk about that. Because there's a lot to this when we ask. And then there's a lot to it when we receive. So, any questions on strategy sessions or accountability calls?
So I had a question with these little things that we're enrolling other people in our lives in, whether it's family members or anything like that. Is there an accountability that comes with that? So after we've enrolled them in, we're going back to the picking up the clothes and putting them in the hamper. Is there an accountability that we hold them to, or do they come back to us and say, how am I doing?
So let me ask you a question, John. When you're enrolled in your life, John, who are you accountable for?
Well, if I'm enrolled in my own life, then I'm accountable to me.
And if you're enrolled in your own life, who are you accountable to?
To myself.
Yeah.
So then I don't need to nag if I do that.
If you have to nag, you didn't.
And they weren't really enrolled in the first place.
Exactly.
Okay, so it would be more, if somebody is truly enrolled, they won't need that accountability because they're in their own achievement energy and they want to report it and share it with more people.
Bingo. And what's incredible, John, and I think this is important to remember, that let's say they were enrolled. So let me ask you a question. Can you be enrolled and then disenroll yourself?
I would say that's possible.
Yeah.
I think you could lose touch, definitely.
And then what happens? What do you need to do? So that you
Get
can
re-enrolled.
Yeah. So if the person that was doing the hamper and the clothes, we never need to nag them, right? Because then our intent is to what? Put shame.
Make them, to change them, right?
Yeah. So if that's your intent, you didn't enroll them. But if your intent is to enroll them, And then if they don't see the enrollment, to re-enroll them again. And maybe you have to do it again and again. But it's always your intent. Because I don't know about you, but I want someone to always be able to forgive me and re-enroll me every day. That I'm not 100% enrolled.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it is 9:19, so I apologize. I went 19 minutes over. I try really hard to make sure that I don't do that, so please forgive me. I will stay on time next week, I promise. But you guys, I just have to tell you, this was so inspirational. Thank you. You guys are amazing. What an incredible webinar. And I didn't even know it was 19 minutes after 9. It was so much fun. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. And above all, thank you for enrolling. And thank you for being authentic, because this was an incredible call. So I just want to leave you with one thing, because I just feel like I need to tell you this. Whenever we move a lot of positive energy, it's going to be matched by negative. It always has to happen. Make sure when that negative comes, you are aware of it and you choose the emotion. Because if you choose the emotion, you can choose the emotion to be positive. It's what you choose that emotion to be. So just know we've moved a lot of energy. It's going to be matched with another energy, a negative. Choose the emotion. So be aware this week, because something's going to happen and it's going to be boop. Okay, and if you didn't get it last week, you'll get it this week. Last week was incredible for me. You could see that a lot of people were shifting energy, and boy, it came to me, that negative. So I just bundled it up, put it together, and then said, hey, I wonder if this man can change water into wine, if he could change the negative into the positive, and then give it back to me, full of prosperity, abundance, and love. I don't know. Maybe we should try it. All right, you guys. Love you dearly. Have an incredible evening. And we will talk. Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
do you, when you tape these, do you share both the morning and the night sessions?
Yep. They'll both be on our Facebook page.
Okay. Because I was listening to the one, I didn't know whether you do them both. That's fine. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Absolutely.
Fabulous.
They'll be both on there. And even though the content is similar, of course, with the different people, it's different. So it's fun to listen to both of them.
Yeah, I think it would be different. That's why I wanted to hear it, because people are talking about different things that are personal. So
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what makes it fun. I don't remember what I was telling, but that's okay. Anyway, have an incredible week. Love you dearly. Oh, I know. So don't forget your accountability calls start on Monday, and strategy sessions. So that's up to you guys, but enjoy. Oh my gosh. And if you have any questions, please figure out a way to get in touch with me, text, email, call, whatever. And if you want a strategy session with me, I would love to practice too. So if you want a strategy session with me, email, text, or call, and we'll set up a time and we'll do it. So don't forget, I'm part of the group too, and I would love it. So I love to practice. I love to have the experience. It's fun. So just know we totally have your backs, and we love you, and have an incredible rest of this week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
all right.
See you later.
Bye-bye.